Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk. And I have a crew that may not be back next week, but Lisa Otey is in the building. Hello. And Hollis Lewis is also here with us.
Hello.
Do either one of you all want to tell the story? I know.
Yeah.
I know you can't help it.
Well, the reason why we all might be fired tonight is because Carl does not know how to operate the simplest of equipment needed to have a podcast on WCHS, a.k.a. did not have his headphones plugged in, had our producer...
I can't hear anything.
Matt Murphy
I can't hear anything.
Do an equipment check.
What? I can't hear anything.
That's funny. See,
that's how we're starting tonight. So.
See, I'm just gonna fire. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna call Coop after the show and just fire the whole crew in here.
Start fresh.
All right. So, man, I know we're gonna talk about LeBron, but I want to open up just to say something that how I kind of feel about him.
All
right. And then, Lisa, you got some facts, I'm sure. And Hollis, I know you got an opinion. Yeah. I think LeBron is a outstanding player. But being that, I think the problem that he has is that he wants to feel like he is like the greatest player ever. I think for whatever reason that he's fighting with trying to be MJ. He's wanting to be these great players. I just don't see him being that. I haven't seen him in my, and again, I can't say that I've watched every game that he's played. I just don't see him being any of those great players back in the day.
From what perspective?
I just from a team focus. I think when you look at MJ and you can say that he scored this many points, but it never really looked like he was shooting that much. I'll even go to Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and say he was part of a team that was successful. And I think most of those players were team-oriented even inside of their greatness.
So you think LeBron's not team-oriented?
I do not think he's team-oriented. I just don't see it. I think he wants to win.
All right.
And he'll go to a team that he thinks will win, but then once he gets there, he thinks he's the guy who has to carry the whole load. And please give me the ball, and I'll promise you I can take you all there. And that's not really how it's been.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think maybe what you're looking at more than his capacity to be a good teammate is probably just his mentality. I think that's where you're hung up at. I think that, again, because if you look at team success, I mean, he's definitely carried teams. That Cleveland team, they won the championship, was not a great roster at all. I'm not sure they would even made the playoffs without LeBron.
That's a younger one, though.
Yes, a younger one. D-Wade, okay, I can see kind of ring chasing a little bit when you go to Miami. Lakers, he didn't, walk into like the greatest of situations. Philly is definitely, and we'll talk more about that. Philly is definitely a ring chase to me. That is what it is. But I think it's just like when you look at him, when you look at the superstar that is LeBron James, and you can compare him to his contemporaries, when you compare him to the Michael Jordans, when you compare him to the Kobe Bryants, when you compare him to the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars and those great players who dominated their specific eras, they appeared to have more of that killer mentality, just that attitude that they would rather just be on a sinking ship than join their comrade. You know, like there would never be a situation in which Michael Jordan is going to like team up with Charles Barkley. Never, ever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think maybe it's his mentality that kind of throws people off, where he's more open to do things like he just did.
Okay, and Lisa, I just want to throw. Yes, I know you're ready. I know you're ready.
I'm ready.
I see him. When they made the Herschel Walker trade in Minnesota, and when Herschel Walker got there, already before he probably got there were people trying to figure out, like, you know, what kind of personality is he going to have? Who's he going to hang out with? You know, is it going to be social? All those kind of things. And and to be honest, I can't even tell you if I had a legitimate conversation with him the entire season. That could be just me. That could be other players. But because you lost those other players who you did hang out with, there wasn't a good feeling of having him. And then now you have an expectation for him that he has to do all the things that the guys that you let go had done. And no one ever saw that was good, and no one ever thought that the trade was
But I mean,
worthy.
you can't compare those two. Those are LeBron wins championships wherever he goes. Each team that he's played for, he's won a championship and been an outstanding player on the court at each stop. So you can't. That's a stretch.
I'm not going to fight. I'm just saying as a trade, and what it does internally, I think, to the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to agree with some of the points Hollis just made. The one about being a ring chaser. I don't think he was that at the beginning of his career when he was capable of carrying a team on his back, so to speak, like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah. But now it seems like, you know, as a 41-year-old veteran, he's kind of tarnishing his legacy, in my opinion, by, being this, and I had to look this up, but I love the term, and you've probably heard it, guys, a super team merchant.
That's a new one.
That's a new one.
I haven't heard that either.
Okay, so this is slang that athletes use it's whatever sport, a player that chases a team and they only join stacked rosters to win championships. So this is what people are kind of labeling him as, and like you said earlier, chasing that ring. It's not going to help his legacy in the end, in my opinion. I don't remember Michael Jordan doing those things at the end of his career. It kind of makes you question. He's 41 years old. Maybe this is the point where we say, time to ride off into the sunset, rather than leaving this bad taste in everyone's mouth as LeBron fans watching him do this.
Well, and trying to bring your son into the mix.
Well, yeah, I don't. His son's not going to Philly. I don't think his son's.
No, but I'm just.
No.
But I'm just saying.
In the past, like
you can't. I mean, he really believed, and I'm okay believing in your son, but you can't just automatically bring him into the NBA and put him in the game. You want to put him in the game like he's getting playtime.
Yeah,
come on.
I don't have a problem. I mean, it's nepotism. It is what it is. It happens at every. It happens in every industry, right? It's just strange that it's happening in sports. I mean, that's weird. But I would say this: as far as the move is concerned, I would agree with you, Lisa, that it's just kind of just like
It's kind of seedy.
Yeah, it's kind of just like blah. Like, why are you doing? Again, I understand going from Cleveland. Obviously, he grew up in Northeast Ohio, so you get drafted by Cleveland. You probably want to get out of there, so you go to Miami. That's almost like a college stop. Then you come back, you win a championship there. Then okay, you want to go back to Cleveland. You win a championship there. You did it for the hometown, and then you want to move to LA because you're trying to do other things as far as media and being a mogul and da 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 da. But this, and again, so all those moves are kind of justified. We get it, right? We get it. We may not like it, but we get it. But this one is just like, man, I mean, why don't I just go back to Cleveland and have your son sit there? And it's just.
So why do you think that? I mean, because, people were saying that the front runners to, acquire him were Cleveland and Miami, correct?
Cleveland, Miami, and Golden State, I think.
Okay, and those would have been like that would have had an air of romance, going back to those teams where you won some championships with. But this doesn't have an air of romance at all. It just kind of smells.
And to me,
bad,
what I think he wanted to do, I think he wanted to go to New York. Because this is early reports, so this could be, a stretch right now. But from what they're saying, he's not going to live in Philadelphia. They're saying he's going to live in New York and then commute. So it's like an hour ride, and you can do a helicopter ride or whatever. So they're saying he's going to actually, like, his home base on the East Coast is going to be in New York. So I believe if New York did not win the championship, I believe he would have went to New York because he's trying to, he has the LA New York thing where he's trying to do the media, the business guy, stuff like that. So I believe that's probably why he went to Philly. In addition to, Philly has a stacked roster with Joel Embiid, Brown, Kersey, with the young guns they have. They have to be one of the front runners to win the championship next year.
Do you think that those young guys, relatively speaking, young guys that are already on the team, and you throw LeBron in there, do you think that's a match? Like, is that a mindset? Can the mindsets work together?
I don't know if it's a match on the court, but what we got to understand is the same way we look at like Michael Jordan or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's how they look at LeBron. How people maybe a little bit younger than us would look at Kobe. That is how they look at LeBron. So for them, it's no. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. For you and I, not necessarily, but for them, LeBron is their Jordan. They didn't watch Jordan growing up. They watched LeBron, and they got the tail end of Kobe. So for them, it's like this is playing with their hero. You got to understand, this guy's 18, 19, 20, 21 years old on this roster. They grew up watching LeBron. LeBron is it for them. Because they'll tell you LeBron's the greatest player of all time.
But aren't there, okay, so let me throw this out here too. So I know this seems like a dream team roster, so to speak, but, there's some skepticism, I think, out there with especially Philly fans. There's questions about, whether a 41-year-old James is going to be able to stay healthy for a full season.
Good point.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you've also got Embiid, and I think he's been hurt quite a bit.
He's going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So you're looking at an NBA season that begins quite early and ends quite late in the next year. That's a grueling kind of schedule. For them to be able to go deep in the playoffs, everybody has to stay healthy. Those two especially, correct?
Yeah, but I think you have a Jaylen Brown. So I think he's there.
That's true.
He's going to me, be the focal of this, and I think they can they can win enough games with him sort of guiding the ship, and they can, do the load management thing around Embiid and LeBron. So I think there's enough pieces there because really all they have to do is kind of get to the playoffs and get through the regular season, just get in the playoffs. And then once you're in the playoffs, if you're healthy, to your point, if you're healthy going to the playoffs, that's going to be a tough roster to compete with.
But can LeBron fit?
LeBron's a chameleon. That's the thing with LeBron. He can play. He developed a post game. He can run the point. LeBron can play at any position on the court.
I'm not questioning his ability to play any positions. Mm-hmm. But what will he do? What does he create in the mindsets of the other teammates? Because I'm telling you, there's a feeling when you have somebody who is, that's come in this type of situation, like you feel a certain kind of way because you've lost this player, that player, you had to get rid of him. Bro, I'm just telling you.
But it's different in basketball. I would say football is a little different. Basketball, they're used to it's constant movement in basketball. Teams are constantly changing. I mean, and we can say that's from youth all the way up.
Okay.
It's constant movement.
Okay. But now all of a sudden everybody's going to say, okay, LeBron's going to come in and make us a champion.
He's going to be the savior.
He's going to be the savior. And you and Lisa and me, we're three of the starters, and we're thinking like, well, wait a minute. It's just going to be him? He's just going to he's going to be the thing? I don't think a professional athlete can handle that in their mindset.
Bro, it's LeBron. This
you don't even think Jalen will have a problem with having?
I think he will, but
because that's an ego there.
Yes.
But I think we all know if you're a basketball fan, you know Jalen. This is going to be Jaylen Brown's team. This is his squad. He's going to be responsible for carrying this team. Again, you're 41. I'm sure LeBron's probably in superior shape.
Sure.
All the things he does, take care of his body. But at the end of the day, long term, this is Jaylen Brown's team. So I don't think, far as ego, and LeBron LeBron's not a Jordan. He's not a Kobe. He will defer. You know what I'm saying? That's a criticism of LeBron. LeBron will pass the ball. He doesn't always take the last shot. That's been a criticism of LeBron his whole career. It has been.
And I'll make the case. No, I don't want to take the last shot. I just soon you take it.
I'm telling you.
And then if you miss it,
yeah, I'm telling you.
If you miss it, then I'm okay.
I think LeBron can fit in anywhere.
Oh my goodness!
He can.
No, you did not say that.
He can fit in anywhere. Again, he can fit in with any team. LeBron can literally play with anybody because he can play all 5 positions, and he doesn't have obviously he has an ego. He's a professional athlete, but his ego's not big enough. He's not a Kobe. He's not a Kobe. He's not a Kobe or Jordan. He's not that.
So do you believe this is the missing piece that the 76ers need to get it to the next level,
that
to get
part
it to
I
the
don't
finals?
Know. That part I don't
because
know.
It seems
That's
like
a good question.
Those other players, if they were so good. I mean, I know they're good. Don't get me wrong. All players in the NBA are good. But, for him to come in and everybody say they're the juggernaut now, they're going to be the team that everybody needs to beat. Is he that big of a contributing factor to a championship? Is he?
I mean, that's the question.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
no.
question. I don't. But no.
I say no.
But I say that's legitimate. That's legitimate.
Yeah.
That's legitimate. So I can't answer that fully.
Yeah. And one more thing, and then I'm going to let Carl take over because Carl's dying over there. But, going to Philly, those fans are notoriously ruthless.
Those are different people. Those are different fans.
Sports culture. They'll turn on you quick. And I'm telling you, if they don't, look at the Eagles fans, and now look at this. If you don't produce a championship like within a year or two, your goose is cooked.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to have an immediate, reaction.
And he signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
So he got the 1 year, then the player option the second year. So
I think,
and league minimum. His minimum anyway.
I think what'll happen if by some chance he doesn't show up the way that they expect him to show up early on in the season, I think they'll lose the fan base.
Nah. I would partly agree with that.
Considering the city.
If they're not, if by All-Star break, if things ain't going right, then I can see that. But I legitimately think they're going to be, barring everybody stays healthy or healthy enough, I think they'll be in the Eastern Finals, the Eastern Conference Championship at the least.
My only
Write that down, Matt Murphy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think they're going to at least get that far.
I think the only way that happens, is if LeBron is able to step back and not own the team.
Not own the team.
And allow everybody to play. Because, like you said, there are some great players on that team, and they don't need a whole lot of help. They don't need a game winner. They don't need that guy. They just need another hand. that's a good hand. That's all they need.
I think LeBron can feel that. I mean,
I don't know if that's him possibly. I think he's always thinking he's the guy that's got to take us. He's the guy who has to take us there. He's not going to let you take him. I
don't know. I think at this juncture in your career, I think you kind of want that ride, right? I think he wanted that from Luka. I don't know if he wanted to be like, let me come in and just fill a gap here.
I think he wants to go out a winner. I think that's the whole point 100%. Of this.
I think that too.
I mean, otherwise, I think he would have gone back to Miami or Cleveland because those were good fits for him. That's nostalgic. People would have wanted him there. The fans love him there. He's taking a chance going to Philly, really.
Yeah.
I think y'all are missing one thing, though, about NBA teams. The coaching aspect is a big part. A lot of this is going to depend on Nick Nurse. How well does he control this team by adding LeBron in there? I mean, when you think about the most successful coaches over the last 30 years, Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, Steve Kerr. And then
you're right.
After those top three, I mean, you could list anybody. But, those three coaches know how to control their players when they bring somebody in. They don't rework the wheel or anything like that. They do what they do.
And they make you fit in.
But do you really think LeBron is going to,
That's my issue with these superstars late in their career is it's just like if the coach starts to defer and say, well, you're the great LeBron, you're the great whoever, then that's when you start having issues if the coach gives away some of their control.
Good point. And I think you're going to have to give up a little bit if you got LeBron.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're in the position to want or even need to do that at this point.
We'll see.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
It's really going to be interesting to see. But now I want to switch here. To probably I'm gonna kind of give a good introduction to him. Probably one of the best sports television analyst or whatever you want to call him, Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, we have a clip. Will you want to play the clip to introduce it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Matt, if you could play it, it'd be great.
He's an addict. That's what this comes down to. And as far as I'm concerned, if I was in an NFL team, I wouldn't touch him. I just wouldn't touch him.
You and I see this very differently, Stephen A.
I know we do.
Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always. This shame does nothing. It doesn't help. Being addicted to drugs does not make you a bad person. It's a weakness. It needs to be addressed. The struggle goes on. There's no end to the struggle. This is life. We struggle every day, and we just try to struggle better. And he's trying to struggle better. Now, if he committed a crime, if he hurt someone, well, why do you think he's been taking Xanax and weed since he was a teenager, since he was a young kid? Guy has problems. Like, he's a superhuman athlete, but he is still a human being.
So just wanted to preface that real quick for our audience, guys, but that clip is actually from the ESPN archives of Stephen A's First Take, and that actually was on December 2018, and so Stephen A gave his opinion, and then the response was from Max Keller. So thoughts from you guys?
I know I had a guy, a buddy of mine, who I would say comfortably was probably the best bump and run corner in the NFL, who nobody knows. And he was an alcoholic. That was his vice, I guess. And as my career grew, all I could think about was him, because I knew how great he was. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was 10 times better than me. But I knew his career was never going to get to a place to where he would be able to actually play week in and week out, because he just drank too much.
Right.
You could smell it on him,
Daily.
in the morning every day for practice, and it's almost like he couldn't wait to get away from practice to get there. And I think when you put yourself in that kind of situation, And when that's a situation that's causing you a problem to be great, it's not an easy one to break. I went on, it was, the day off in the league is Tuesday. So I went over to his house because he's playing on the other side of me, and I know how good he is. Mm-hmm. When he came to the door, I'm banging on the door because I know he's there, right. And finally he opens the door and he turns around and walks back. He doesn't say come in. He just walks away and goes back, lays down on the couch. And I'm like, I try to have a conversation with him, and I realized that it was a waste of time, because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Wasn't him.
Too far gone.
He was too far gone. And I think, when players get into that kind of a situation, it really, really damages their ability, their thought process of how great they could be.
That's just a story that you just told, Carl, that it's probably similar to what happened to Josh Gordon. I don't think he plays in the league anymore.
Right.
And I think that after this clip, he even had more issues of being suspended with drug problems and from what I read. But I think the thing that bothered me a little bit about the video, and don't get me wrong, I love Stephen A. Smith. Love him.
Right.
Most of the time I'm with him and agree. But for him, for this little segment between he and Max, at one point we didn't hear all of the whole time, the whole interaction between the two men. But he said that it was self-inflicted rather than a true disease. And he caught a lot of flack at that time for making that statement, and to me, rightly so. I don't think addiction is a choice.
No, I don't either.
I don't think. I think that it's an illness, and most of the time, people that have battled that addiction, they understand that complex reality of trying to get better. And I think Stephen kind of disrespected that process in a way during that little interaction. What do you think, Hollis?
I mean, it was a very ignorant comment. It was downright disgusting. And I had those same thoughts when I heard it back then. As a person who works in that community, at least in part, you have to understand that normally addiction is a symptom of a deeper issue. So whether that's a childhood trauma, whether that's even an adult trauma, whether that's mental illness or what have you, or here in the case of in West Virginia, a large segment of our population who suffer from SUD, substance use disorder, went to the doctor because they were injured, and then they got overprescribed during the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it could be a situation in which you don't have anything far as a mental or some sort of emotional behavioral health issue. You just went to the doctor, you got overprescribed, and now it led you to where you can't get that drug, and now you're using street drugs in order to compensate for not being able to get it from a doctor anymore. And I think specifically when we're looking at sports and addiction, sports and addiction is one of those things similar to sports and behavioral health and mental health, which we're just starting to sort of recognize the problems with that. Particularly, when we talk about athletes, I was looking at something the other day and they were talking about what being a high-level athlete does to your nervous system.
Oh.
Right? So, for example, when we're at two-a-days and we're practicing and we're doing run tests and we're doing our sprints after practice, that sort of feeling, in addition to the anticipation and the playing of games and the practice and the camaraderie that exists within that team capacity, you don't get that anywhere else.
Right.
So once you're done with it, your nervous system is used to reacting and being at a certain tilt, and I'm sure, Coach Lee, you could probably, relate, every August, it's almost like, dang, I ain't in shape yet. You might do that, after you get done playing, you think but hey, I'm done. You ain't played in 2-3 years. But that August, you start to get charged up because you're used to doing things in a certain way. And I'm sure it's for the same for other sports. So athletes are prone to go that way because you're just not getting that adrenaline rush. You're not getting that excitement. Life becomes boring, particularly like I said, if I can, you played in the league or played high level collegiate
it's a natural
sports.
high.
It's a natural thing, and when you can't get that, it's almost similar to going to that doctor and being overprescribed. So I think it's one of those things where I think it's mandated by the league now that every team has to have like a mental health professional or behavioral health professional. I think now, and we got to do that. And the same thing goes for addiction. So if you do have these athletes who we got to start to figure out how we can, get to the root of the problem and not just look at this purely in a punitive manner because it's much deeper than that. So,
and you touched on a piece of it that I think that maybe the average person doesn't get, and I know that you understand it from just even playing at West Virginia State. When you are an athlete and when you are, in the game, in a situation, somewhere there are people who have to come find a way to get rid of all that anxiety that they have built up into the game. And unfortunately, it's usually going out with your buddies and going out to the bar and having a drink, having a smoke, anything like that. And before you know it, it becomes your routine. And before you know it, you are hooked on it.
Yeah.
And it's not always something that somebody did for, quote, pleasure. It was a way out. It was something to try to just get me an escape mechanism to help me get away from the anxiety of, what football is. I mean, you can't imagine, if you haven't done it, you can't imagine being in camp and hoping to make a team, and you got a great quarterback that's in front of you. Maybe two. And some kind of way you're trying to make this team, but you got to beat one of those guys out. And if not, you're going home.
Yeah.
And when you go home, you don't know
what you face,
what you're facing now.
Yeah, and that's in addition to. So if you take that, and in addition, like if you're a long-term, professional athlete, there's again, I think it's changed now. But there's also where they're getting the scripts to play, so they're getting the Percocets, and they were getting the the pain pill to deal with pain management. So there's also that aspect anyway. So when I hear again, and I would pray that he would have an evolved opinion about that now. Yeah. But when I heard that again, then it was just like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
He did come back, guys, and have like a kind of a statement that he made that, he insisted his frustrations with the addiction issues comes from personal family experienes and the toll that he, was on the individual, relapses take on the surrounding support system of family. When these, whether it's an athlete or not an athlete, when someone has an addiction issue, we know how they do relapses, and the family goes into relapse with them. I mean, they have to suffer through the same symptoms and trying to get help. So he said it was more of that than a lack of empathy. So he did kind of dig his way out of that hole that he dug when he did that interview. And plus, this was in 2018, but it's still relevant to a degree today. I mean, like you just said, your friend drinking, destroyed his career, and then the same thing had happened. From what I'm reading about Josh Gordon. I mean, he was they called him Flash, I think was his nickname, right?
Yeah, he was an excellent
athlete.
He had like, that Megatron, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens type of ability for sure. But, unfortunately it happens. And like I said, I just hope that anybody out there dealing with, any sort of addiction issues, please call 988 and get help and just try to, and know this, that relapse is a part of the process,
and I think
don't give up. Don't give up. Because
and we as the outside of that, we're the first ones who want to say, "Oh, look at that, Hollis." Yeah. I heard Hollis was back on it like he was before.
Judgmental.
When you do that, that doesn't really necessarily help the person in general. I think because they know. Yeah. They know better than anybody where they are. And in order for them to think about, okay, I'm going to have to go through this whole thing, this whole process all over again because I got to get back. They understand how challenging that is.
Right.
And all we're doing is just judging. Yeah. And I just think that's,
just making it even harder for them to recover.
Yes. And I tell you, I promise you, when you see it, when you know it, when you're on a team, and let's just say in the NFL, when you're on a team and you see it and you know that he's in that situation, it's sad.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing really that anybody's going to do. We know it, but we don't know because I can't go to Hollis and say, "Hey man, come on, we need to do that." He don't want to hear that. He's a grown man too.
Right.
And
the addict has to decide for themselves
they
if they're
really
ready
do.
for help.
That's a challenge for them. Mm-hmm. So
I would think from a team management perspective too. There's one thing about making a business decision here, and that business decision may be, look, you've got an addiction issue, we got to cut you. You're a liability to the team. But that doesn't mean that you don't also still want to be compassionate. You don't want to try to get that person rehabilitation and whatever they need there. But, even if you do that for someone, a team may still have to say, look, it's still not working out.
It's true. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah. That's a fact. So enough of that one.
Enough of that one. Do we want to move on to the next
let's go.
topic?
Let's go to the next one.
Okay. So this topic, I don't know why I didn't realize this was going on when it came out, but this is the Notre Dame CFP deal. Have you guys heard about it?
Jeez. I had not heard about it until you guys talked about it.
Well, this happened like in December. But they really didn't advertise it, and I guess now where the college football season, is upon us, a month out, and now it's coming out. What happened with Notre Dame? And I'll just really quick go over it, and then I want your opinions on it, guys, because and Hollis is going to have to explain a legal term here for us. But so basically, we know what happened in 2025, right? Mm-hmm. Notre Dame got snubbed in the CFP, College Football Playoff. They were 10-2, and they ended up being left out of the 12-team field and replaced by Miami. So they were pretty upset about it. The CFP committee, they justified their decision by saying, look, guys, you had a 0-2 start to your season. Your late season schedule, it was weak. And so it hurt their resume. So in the end, they didn't make the playoff. Well, then Notre Dame declined bowl invitations. So it just turned into a big drama that, typical Fighting Irish. But anyway, I didn't say that out loud. So anyway, then we get to this year. And I guess what happened was it's called a top 12 clause. And under and it's called an MOU. Do you know what that is, Hollis? An MOU? It's
Memorandum of Understanding.
Yes, explain that to everybody.
Basically when you have two parties, they don't necessarily have a quote-unquote normal, like, everyday working relationship, but they, agree upon a set of policies, procedures, or to do this or that.
So legally, it wouldn't hold up in court. It's more of like a gentleman's agreement.
It's a little bit more than that. It is a document.
Yeah. Okay, it is a document.
There could be some legal ramifications, but I don't think it rises to the level of like a contract.
Okay. Well, that's what they have. So that's between Notre Dame and the CFP. And so now, any top 12 final ranking in 2026 locks Notre Dame into the playoff field. No other team. Just because, here's my question for you guys.
Jesus.
Special treatment for an independent? I know Notre Dame's always been given gifts, but is this over the top?
Way over the top.
Yeah, over the top.
This is reason 900,000, 1055 that I hate the NCAA. It's just such a terrible organization. And look, I don't know why we need a playoff committee. I don't know why we need that.
I thought that was your favorite part, huh?
No, I don't know why we need these MOUs. I don't know why we need any of this crap.
Exactly.
If you just take what the BCS had, as far as the point system, take Cumin out of it. You just got a point system, and you say, hey, man, you get points for playing. Make sure the point system is correct. We can program it to make sure that, hey, if you're getting points for playing good teams, you're getting points for making early season schedules, even if that team turns out to not be so good, but they were good last year, whatever the points. And you just take the top 12 teams and run the playoff. Really, take the top 25 teams. The top team get a bye, 24 play, just like every other sports organization from the NFL to the youth league. You can literally just take what the BCS did as far as the points, get in the top 25, and just run a playoff.
Preach,
you don't need all this
Preach.
humans. You don't need MOUs. You don't need any of this. And it's just like I'm so frustrated. And I'll shut up after this. But I
keep going.
Keep going. I love it.
I personally think that particularly college football, is going to succeed from this, and they're going to run their own thing. I think we're going to have the SEC that does it first and just say, we're not following any of your rules anymore. You're a defunct, just useless organization that just does dumb stuff like this. Because, I mean, again, if they're in the top 12, then they're in the top 12. But what it's going to end up doing is making sure that they're in the top 12.
Exactly.
If they're a top 12 team,
right.
then we don't have to do this. You don't need an MOU. They're top 12. They're good enough to make it. But now you're going to look for every justifiable reason to put them there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, I don't know.
All those times that we've been talking bad about the WVSSAC and all this transfer stuff and whatever, and here we actually have a point system in this state for the playoffs.
And
it would work perfect in college.
And it's pretty simple.
We had it right here in West Virginia all along.
Look at that.
And it's not that hard.
I think they want it. I think they want it complex so that they can.
We were doing this.
Yeah. So that something like this, they can have some kind of handle on how to fix it.
It's just I don't know, man.
What about these other conference commissioners? Do they not stand up and say, hey, why can't we get that kind of an agreement? Why do they get it just because they choose to be independent? They could join any conference in America, and they choose not to because of stuff like this. They have their own network. They have their own, at one point they were allowed to take a bowl, a bid from or a place from one of the conferences. Who were they tied to, Matt? They were tied to a conference, ACC.
Mm-hmm.
And
was it ACC or Big Ten? I know it
might have been Big Ten. It might have been both.
Yeah, it was different for different sports, I think.
Okay. But you're right. It was. But I mean, when are we going to stop, allowing them the favors when no one else gets them?
How do they? Okay, so my question is, how did this get started? How did they all of a sudden become this organization to be able to, like, we can kind of do whatever it is that we want to do. We can change things if we want to. Where did that come from? How did they get there? What? Well,
I think they're a
mystique.
You got to understand, like, so Notre Dame was like one of the first like major universities, really maybe we could say almost sporting franchise or whatever, to have like national TV contracts. So every year, every game, the country saw Notre Dame. When, like, if you were in your region,
I used to be a Notre Dame fan.
So like, if you're in your region, if you're in the South, you're seeing your team. If you're in the West, you're seeing your team. But the nation is seeing. So they have a wide-reaching fan base. They have, I'm sure, booster, and I'm sure they, got a big booster and all those other things.
Huge.
An alumni association that's really, very powerful. So I think that's how they got here. The fact of the matter is, though, it's just like it is time to move forward. Every other team is move forward. It's time for them to join the conference.
Exactly.
Join it. And
you can thank Rudy for this. That's what it is.
What do you have a justification in your mind of like why they don't want to join a conference?
The TV money.
Yeah.
They would have to split it. So
they
now, if you look at the TV deal, you look at merchandise, like they don't have to split anything with any conference. They don't have to give up anything. I mean, they're massive. They're almost like a conference unto themselves. You know what I mean? So they don't have to split no money.
That's why it was such a big deal when Marshall went out to South Bend and beat them that year, a couple years ago. Yeah, that upset. That was an unbelievable upset they pulled off.
There's no way they would have thought that was going to happen.
Oh, no. No. I mean, I'm sure the alumni, they had things to say about that loss, I'm sure.
Yeah. I just think, when I think about power in names of teams, I guess when you think of Notre Dame, I can remember them from years and years and years and years ago growing up. But never did I ever really think that there'd be a time that I would like it not be a favorite team of mine.
Yeah.
You know, but I've just lost it because of just so many different things that have taken place. It's like I just don't have any feel for support of them.
Right.
And look at this schedule. So you tell me if this is a top 12 schedule, at least going into the season. Maybe,
I want to hear it.
Maybe it turned around. Maybe these teams are good. They start off with Wisconsin. I believe Wisconsin had a losing record last year. Then they go to Rice.
Oh, come on.
Great.
That's Conference USA, right?
What? I don't even know. Are they D2? Then it's Michigan State. They haven't been good in a while. Purdue has not been good in a while. North Carolina is not a good ball club. SMU, they're okay.
Yeah.
Syracuse, not a good ball club for a while. Navy, all respect to Navy, but they're not, perennial. Now you play Miami, good team. Stanford, not a good team. Boston College, not a good team. USC, it ain't really been good that well. This is a wretched schedule. Even if all these teams maintain kind of what they've been doing the last couple of years, and Notre Dame wins all these games, that's not a top 12 team. Sorry. That's not a top 25 schedule.
I was going to say, how are you going to rank them? How are you going to rank them if those teams go, win 2 or 3 games in a season?
You better win every game by 40 and 50 points. That's the only way, because this is not a great schedule.
Which is another bad thing, because you're going to have to run the score up.
Yeah.
Every game that you play, you're set to have to run the score up. Because
guys, I can almost guarantee you they will be in that top 12. They will be there unless they just blow up and lose to a lot of those teams this year. If they can have a winning season, they're going to be there.
There shouldn't even be a question about a winning season.
How many big teams do you think they need on a schedule? Because I didn't hear any like Ohio State.
No.
There's no Alabama's in there. There's no Texas, Oklahoma. There's none of that.
The only one, far as Miami, USC traditionally. USC again hasn't been good. Miami's been good these last couple of years. SMU's a pretty good team. That's it.
Yeah.
On this current schedule, again, unless something shakes up where one of these teams have a run or they turn the program around, this is a wretched schedule. This is not a good schedule.
Wretched.
Well, and that's what gets back to why you need something that judges difficulty of schedule. Because
exactly.
For one thing, there's just so many teams in college football. And they're not all equal. That's just. We know that as Marshall and WVU fans. That only goes so far. Yeah.
Well, and the fact that you're making your own schedule, you're not in a conference, so you're not locked to teams. Come on.
They just want special treatment, and that bothers me a lot. And they get it. That's the second problem.
I just think that college football was the greatest thing ever. And it's just like they just ruined the game.
Why would you want to be out of a conference? Like everybody's in a conference. Most everybody's in a conference. Most everybody. Why would you? And you're Notre Dame. Why are you not in a conference?
You're Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
they've never been in one, have they? Ever.
Never.
Well, nobody knows how much money they have as a university.
And they don't have to report.
They don't have to report it.
Right. That's right.
We're talking about a school that's probably like in the billions dollar endowment range.
Yeah.
Which is, they probably have more money just sitting in the bank than what some flagship universities, their entire budget is for a year.
True.
Yeah.
So including sports.
So they can control all that. So they can give us a trillion reasons, but it all comes down to the dollar. So that's why you don't want to join the conference. If I was them, I probably wouldn't want to join a conference neither.
No.
But at the same time, as just a college football fan, I just hate this. God, I just yuck.
See, I wouldn't go to Notre Dame.
Yes, you would. I
bet everybody in this room would.
Well, let me just say,
that's a resume.
They're going to hit you with a bag. They're going $100,000.
Yeah.
Well, let me say it this way then. I would want to play. If I'm at Notre Dame, I would want to go and play all these guys who are at these major universities, I want to go play against them. I want to see who they are. I don't want to necessarily be sure that we can win every game on our roster. You know, I just don't want. I don't want every team to be a lower level team. I want to go after. I want to play a top team. I'm not going to go to Notre Dame and knowing
play Rice
and play Rice.
Now here's the thing on that Rice game. I guarantee you that Rice game is probably the same thing as Marshall going up there a couple years ago. Here's the thing, though. Notre Dame doesn't need to be in a conference. Teams like West Virginia University, for example, we need a conference.
Yes.
We need that in order to get money. We need that in order to get ranking. You've got to have those other teams in the conference. You need that so that you can build up your notoriety.
Right.
And you hope that the conference is good
enough to do it.
So that helps you out.
Yes.
Notre Dame doesn't need all that.
No. It is what it is. We sound like fighting Irish haters. Like we're going to be in trouble. I hope our audience isn't.
Yeah, I'm really not.
Too mad.
I'm really not a Notre Dame hater. Like I said, I loved them back in the day, but I just don't understand. I just don't understand the direction in which they are trying to go and the position in which that they're in.
And I don't understand. I mean, I don't know if you heard about it when it went down. Please refresh my memory, but I do not remember hearing the chatter about this deal back in December at all.
I don't remember hearing it at all.
I don't know.
It's almost like they kept it under wraps as long as they could. And now somebody leaked the information, and now it's got to be told.
My fear is just that it's just like I said. I think it has the potential just to corrupt the process, and then they'll find every excuse to put them in the top 12, as opposed to just judging the legitimacy of what happened on the field with the schedule. So
and what happens if other teams do?
I don't think other teams got the cachet to do it. I think this is, like Lisa said, this is a Notre Dame thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you really never know, though. Yeah. I mean, there might be somebody out there that's got a dollar, and I'm not going to say they got Notre Dame money, but they may have still enough to at least try.
Just throw away the NCAA. Just throw it away. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
Hollis is going to start a revolution.
Yeah, I'm telling you, just get rid of the whole thing. We just need to start fresh.
Now that I think that would be perfect. I think if you could get the right people in the room and say, hey, look, let's just get college football on track.
College sports
as a whole.
Let's make it regional.
Let's
make it regional like it should be.
Amen.
Everybody, you want to play teams that are close to you like you should be playing. We're going to have a playoff. We're not going to do this silly stuff, and just make it simple.
Yeah.
Just make it great again.
Yeah.
Here's when things started to go wrong. How many teams are in the Big 12 conference?
A gazillion.
It's not 12. How many teams are in the Big 10? It's not 10.
Yeah, you're right
about that. That's when things started going bad.
We can't count. That's a problem.
Yeah. Well, all right. We'll end on that fight right there. I don't know. I don't know if we solved anything there or created more. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back again next week. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
You gotta work, grind, shine. It's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk. You gotta work. You gotta work. You gotta work. You gotta work, yeah. You gotta work, yeah. You gotta work. I'm going hard like Kobe inside the gym. I'm a diamond in the dirt, a hidden gem. Going for greatness, I gotta win by any means, cause I don't know when I'll be back again. Going hard, I gotta get it, man, I can't even lie. I put in so much sweat, my body running dry. I shed so many tears, now I don't wanna cry. Now it's coming easy to me, all I had to do was try. I had to work, push myself through it even though I knew it hurt. Long as you do it right, it don't matter who do it first. Never sell yourself short, know your worth. I knew I wasn't one since birth. I had to work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work. You gotta work. You gotta work. gotta work, yeah. You gotta work, yeah. You gotta work. I knew I'd be a legend if I put in the time. Never quit, never give up if you falling behind. Anything you work for comes to you by design. Obstacles will never stop you cause it's all in your mind. If you fall, dust it off and get back up on your feet. Anything could be a win, yup, even defeat. They say sugar bad for you, why is victory sweet? Couldn't play with big kids, I had to sit in the street and watch from a distance, but over time I grew. If I put in the work, in no time I'm due. Everything that I worked and prayed, I'm okay. If you ask me, how did I do it, I'm gon' say you gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work. 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 You gotta work.